Former President Trump spotted leaving the jail.
We will continue to do fingerprints, mugshots, etc.
After his arrest, parents in Florida outraged.
And that is infuriating.
Because of how their children were selected for extra school help. Some monkey business spotted.
This cannot be possible.
By fast food employees in the Sunshine State. And what you need to know about training for sports during this heat wave.
People get disoriented.
These stories and more coming up on Newsbreak.
Good morning, South Florida. I'm Julian Davis.
I'm Samantha Gutierrez. Today is Friday, August 25th, 2023.
Live from the Lee Caplin School of Journalism and Media in North Miami, this is Caplin News.
A familiar face returns to X, formerly known as Twitter, using his mugshot as his first post following his surrender. In a historic move, former President Donald Trump was booked at the Fulton County Jail in Atlanta.
Caplin's Leigh Abu Tarbouche is in the control center this morning with details on the arrest.
For the first time in American history, we are witnessing a mugshot of a former president. Sources say that Donald Trump has actually discussed how he wanted to appear in the mugshot with his legal team prior.
The former president is now back in New Jersey after surrendering and being booked by authorities in Georgia at the Fulton County Jail on Thursday. And like any other criminal defendant, Trump underwent the usual process, including a mugshot and fingerprinting.
If you're indicted, then we're going to treat you as though you were indicted here locally. And so we will continue to do fingerprints, mugshots, etc.
The 45th president is accused of orchestrating a conspiracy to overturn the 2020 election loss in Georgia. He faces 13 charges, including 1 count of racketeering, 3 counts of solicitation and violating of oath by a public officer, and 2 counts of conspiracy to commit forgery in the first degree, among others.
What has taken place here is a travesty of justice. We did nothing wrong. I did nothing wrong.
Trump has actually posted his mugshot on X for the first time in 2 years. I'm Leigh Abu Tarbouche reporting for Caplin News.
A school district in Central Florida is saying sorry this morning. An administrator and a teacher have been put on administrative leave after an unsettling assembly took place based on race. Caplin's Hawa Ezel delivers a report near Orlando.
Parents at one Florida elementary school are rattled and upset after the school called an assembly of only Black 4th and 5th graders, where parents then say their children were targeted for underperforming on standardized tests. This mother of a 5th grader at Bunnell Elementary asked not to be identified, but thinks Black students in the 4th and 5th grades were racially profiled.
We send our kids to learn, to be protected, to be taught by these professionals, and they decide to choose our children, target them, to talk to them like this without our consent.
Staff at the school called only Black students in 4th and 5th grade to an assembly where they presented this PowerPoint. This page is entitled The Problem, claiming that African Americans have underperformed on standardized assessments for the past 3 years. Only 32% are at level 3 or higher. Another page is called The Solution, stating that each student will commit to earning at least a level 3 or higher on all standardized assessments, promising fast food as a reward.
My daughter, how does it make you feel? I feel like I am not good enough. And that is infuriating.
Just this morning, he was unsettled. He texted me, "Mommy, I'm uncomfortable."
Flagler School's interim superintendent, LaShaika Moore, issued a formal public apology nearly a week after the incident took place.
Why an assembly of this style was chosen, I am not sure, but I am confident that that is likely going to come out.
The school district then released a statement that reads in part, "It is clear there was no malice intended, and that while the desire to help is to be commended, how this was done does not meet expectations."
It became racial for me when they included and boxed all of the Black children together, no matter if they were below average, average, or above average.
The school principal and a teacher have been put on administrative leave. For Caplin News, I'm Hawa Ezel.
Health experts are advising people to mask up again as COVID-19 hospitalizations rise across the U.S. and kids head back to school. Data from the CDC shows that COVID hospitalizations have been increasing since early last month, but in recent weeks, these cases have nearly doubled to 1,300.
We're at this inflection point. Numbers have been going up. Weather's going to get cooler and drier. They're probably going to go up a little bit more.
Due to the rise in admissions, health officials are advising people in high-risk categories to be safe and masked up, test twice if you're feeling symptoms, and stay home for at least 5 days if you test positive.
A man has been rescued by the U.S. Coast Guard after having been stranded in a small uninhabited island, Bahamian Island, for several days. Last Friday, a Coast Guard crew spotted flares coming from a disabled sailboat near Cape Sal. The man said he was stranded for 3 days after the vessel malfunctioned before receiving supplies from an air crew. The Coast Guard took him to the Royal Bahamian Defense Force in good health.
Something's been monkeying around with people in Central Florida, and it's an actual monkey. Claire Metz from the Orlando West 2 News reports on sightings and the efforts to catch the animal.
Corner of my eye, and I'm like, this cannot be possible. And I'm telling everybody, like, listen, there's a monkey.
Kim Villalobos is shift manager at this Orange City Popeyes, and while making preparations at the drive-through window, this guy caught her eye. She shared pictures she took as this very cheeky monkey cruised around, finally hopping over the fence, separating the restaurant from a wooded area.
He's a smart monkey because he stopped right here and like he looked over at the traffic and he knew not to go that way.
It's not every day that you hear about a monkey on the loose.
Orange City police say they started getting calls Friday, a half dozen or more sightings in different parts of the city within a 3-mile range or so. Apparently the elusive creature is trying to make a monkey out of them.
It's just, we would send somebody out to that area, no luck, we can't find it, and it just kept going on several days, throughout the several days.
Restaurant manager Villalobos says the monkey's pretty big.
He looked very well groomed, he was very maintained, he looked healthy, he didn't look like a wild monkey.
Police are asking anyone who sees the monkey to immediately contact them or FWC, that agency involved as well. They don't want anyone to approach or engage the animal.
It could be dangerous, and we don't know that, so not to get near it, not to feed it.
Police say no one has claimed they lost a pet. The nearest zoo, animal sanctuaries have not notified them they're missing an animal. So far, it's mysterious monkey business.
That was WESH's Claire Metz reporting. Florida has a wildlife alert hotline for such things like this.
Plans are on hold this morning to launch a NASA crew from Florida to the International Space Station. The original launch date for the SpaceX Crew Dragon capsule Endurance was at 3:50 this morning. It has now been rescheduled for just before 3:30 a.m. tomorrow. NASA said the delay is related to a technical problem. 4 astronauts will be on board.
Lionel Messi has already scored his goal, got his assist, and even won a trophy. But there is still one big first remaining for the Inter Miami star.
That's still ahead, and so is his story.
Threatening illnesses that, if aren't treated appropriately, can lead to catastrophic danger.
Hot temperatures across the nation can affect student athletes this season, but fear not, there are ways to be safe. Stick around, Newsbreak will be back in just 2 minutes.
Jordan knows he shouldn't eat this entire bowl of nachos, but tonight he's earned that right because a few hours ago in the middle of happy hour, he recognized a sign, not from the gods or a bolt of lightning, but from a double heart, a kissy face, and a fourth ha in ha ha ha. That's when Jordan knew he was buzzed. So when it was time to go, he got a ride home instead of driving. Be a legend like Jordan. Recognize your buzzed warning signs and get a ride home. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
I help our fellows design their paths as creative entrepreneurs. My experiences serving startups, creative businesses, and cultural organizations, and my journey as a queer mixed immigrant with Haitian and Arabic roots, inform the co-creative environment we foster at Radcliffe. We leverage our collective diversity to encourage the building of lifelong personal learning networks and mindsets that stimulate continuous innovation.
Health experts are sending out a warning. The heat and humidity can be especially hard on young athletes. The temperatures continue to soar here in South Florida and across the nation this summer.
And as we move into the fall, coaches and athletes are now starting their new seasons. CNN's Mandy Gaither has more on how to keep our athletes safe.
As the temperature rises, so does the danger, especially for young athletes training outside for the upcoming season.
These are potential life-threatening illnesses that, if aren't treated appropriately, can lead to catastrophic dangers.
Heat cramps, heat exhaustion, and heat stroke can all strike when it's hot out. That's why everyone, from coaches to parents and athletes, needs to be aware of the danger signs, says Dr. Anna Chhabra with Mayo Clinic.
People get disoriented, people get dizzy and have weakness, unusual behavior, headaches, vomiting, and so those are some of the signs you see.
Chhabra says to also avoid scheduling practices and workouts when it's hottest out. Make sure everyone stays well hydrated before, during, and after practice. Use electrolytes to help rehydrate, but avoid caffeine, alcohol, and sugary drinks that can cause dehydration. Wear lightweight, loose-fitting, light-colored clothing. Have shade and cooling stations, and take it slow.
We want to increase intensity and duration of athletic activities over the course of 7 to 10 days. And that's really important for your bodies to get used to the heat.
Chhabra says many times people don't think they need to stretch and warm up when it's hot out, but he says that's how players can get hurt.
So I don't think the weather should change your warm-up routine. So that's something that's completely separate to try to protect our athletes.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Doctors say it's also important to educate athletes to notice the red flags of heat-related illness, not only in themselves but also in their teammates.
Soccer star Lionel Messi plays his first ever MLS game tomorrow. He was unveiled by Inter Miami CF back on January 17th, but has been playing tournament games ever since. He led the team to a trophy in the League's Cup earlier this month and to the U.S. Open Cup Finals earlier this week. Now the MLS season is starting back up. They're in New York to face the Red Bulls tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. You're watching Newsbreak. We're coming right back.
I could really use a new tablet. I just don't have the money.
Let me ask you something. Do you have a Pell Grant?
Yes?
You do know you can get a free tablet, right?
Did you say free?
Yeah, free. It's simple. And the application is done in the store.
I could really use a tablet.
Go get one. Another satisfied customer. Stop by Pantotech in the Graham Center at FIU MMC today to speak with one of our associates to get your free tablet.
Type 2 diabetes can have a big impact on your life. But how can it be prevented? Well, the first step is knowing if you have something called prediabetes. Take the 1-minute risk test today at doihaveprediabetes.org.
That's all the time we have for Newsbreak. I'm Samantha Gutierrez.
And I'm Julian Davis. Get more news anytime at caplinnews.fiu.edu.